What's up? This is Nick, Commissioner of the Pokemon Battle League, and this is your Pokemon Battle Network for Week 6. Joining me this week will be the People's Champion, because she's brought down the Great Evil. Let's give Lauren a call. Ring, ring, ring. We'll see if she picks up. But yes, she is the People's Champion, the champion of the people, the defeater of evil, and the smiter of those who do terrible things, like use rain teams constantly. Let's see if she'll answer. Just waiting. Ring-a-ling-a-ding. We got some beats bopping in the background this week. Oh, is there a Lauren? Maybe. Maybe not. Hello, Lauren.
Hi.
You're live. You're on the air.
I'm sorry.
And as you are the people's champion,
Okay,
as I said this
hi.
week, since you vanquished the evil that is Dan. Yeah.
Yeah, I did
Yes,
that
you
on
are
purpose.
the
for
vanquisher of
sure.
evil, the defeater of ne'er-do-wells. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to jump right into reviewing last week's matches. So the first one we're going to go over is the Dracovish versus the Weedles. And this is one of the disgusting matches of the week. Did you watch the replay for it?
I did, yeah. I'm sick of
Yeah,
this
he
baton
got
pass
to
stuff.
+6 with between defenses and speed, I think. But then my favorite thing happened when people try and do setup. He got killed in one shot, and it was beautiful. So
I'm
Oh,
sorry,
I'm
you're
sorry.
kind of breaking
That's-
up in my phone.
I'm sorry, but yeah, he got a whole bunch of
That's not
additions
very
set up.
good.
It was +3 defense, or +3 special defense, +1 defense, +2 speed on his Lucario, and then it just got obliterated by an earthquake. So none of it mattered.
Yeah, I don't know why you would do that much setup in the face of something that can take
He got
you
greedy.
down so quick.
That's what it is.
but-
And greed, well,
Yep.
usually doesn't pay off, but in the end, he was still able to pull out the victory with just. He got a freeze. The freeze lasted for a few turns. He got, I think he got at least one crit. Like, the RNG gods were definitely swinging in his favor for the
Yeah,
battle.
Yeah, I definitely
But
agree.
Dracovish was
Pass.
still able to get 4 KOs. I think it got all of her KOs for the match on Cheryl's side, so he may apologize, but he's not really that sorry. He's just here to kill things.
No, I was kind of expecting Dracovish to just kind of sweep, since that's what everyone's been afraid
Well,
of.
the big
but-
issue is he does have
it's
the
kinda sad.
Vaporeon, which has water absorb and like 130
Right.
base HP, so it just eats every attack that gets thrown at it. So he kind of
That's
had to
fair,
work around
yeah.
that, or she had to. Sorry, Cheryl. She had to work around that, but one thing we also got to see, which I love, is some humongous U-turns coming out of Mega Beedrill. They're the adaptability boost. It's just so good. I love it.
Yeah, he did some work.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's kinda
But
scary.
it was the Dracovish that were able to win in the end. So Baton Pass was not the triumph. It did not just wreck her team. I'm sorry that you had to deal with it as well when your battle against him, but
It's okay.
yeah,
Yeah, it did wreck me, but
it's
I've
something
learned
that
my
I don't
lesson,
think you
so-
had been ready for in your match, because you'd probably never faced it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know Baton Pass existed before
Well,
that match, so
It looks like people
Thanks,
are catching on to it, and hopefully it will not wreak too much havoc in the future, so we should be all right. All right, we're going to move
Yeah.
on to our next battle, which is actually going to be your battle, defeating evil.
Oh,
So going
great.
up against a rain team, how are you feeling?
Honestly, I felt pretty good about it. I told you this and a few other people, but all my other battles that I've lost so far, I just kind of kept playing it safe, and this time I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put some really big moves on and try to kill
Yeah,
as
it
quickly
definitely
as
seemed like your
possible.
team was highly offensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
That's what I like to do.
you've got a lot of the moves for it
I
with both Nihilig and Kartana, and then now with the Tornadus pickup, like very fast attackers. It's threatening.
Yeah, the reason why I kind of felt fine about it is Tornadus Scarfed is like what 5 points faster
Boom, there you go.
than Mega Swampert in the rain. So I was like, as long as I save him, I should be fine. And then I was like, once I get Tapu Koko out of the way and like get the stupid rain frog out of the way, I should be fine.
Yeah, stupid
also.
rain frog.
So, you know. And yeah, I wasn't expecting Baton Pass again. But it didn't really do much.
Yeah, American Dragon was able to just sit there and be like, what are you doing? Why are you trying to attack me?
Yeah, Blaziken didn't really scare me much, and he didn't really have much to do against me, so...
Yeah, I was about to say, the Infestation Cofagrigus set, it's looking like it may be a signature set of yours, but it's very devastating and a very good set. Because, like, if you can trap a physical attacker, especially one that likes its ability a lot, what are they going to do? They have to attack you. Then they lose their ability, which likely was helping out their offensive stats, so...
Right.
It's a very good set. If you can catch the right Pokemon with it, there's not much they can do.
Yeah, I kind of throw it out there and hope for the best, and it
absolutely.
Really well against Blaziken,
American Dragon is looking to be a very good Pokemon for you and a very solid pickup. Yeah, like congratulations on your victory. That brings you up to 2 and 4, but it definitely improved your differential with those KOs. So you're moving your way back up. You're making your way up standings, walking fast.
I hope,
there you go. Hey, we've seen people come back from negative differentials back up to a significantly higher standing. So you're in the race. You're not being counted out. Yeah, but then of course you beat Dan. Everybody's happy. So praise be.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna move on from your battle into the battle between the Sneasels and the Larvitars. So this is a battle where we got to see some other offensive threats. So we got the big speed, we got the premiere of Durant from the Larvitars, but he didn't really get to do too much. He came out, used his big move.
Yeah, he kind of
it's one of those things again where the Colossal ends up being just massively defensive, and people, I myself included, slept on it and did not think it would be as defensively powerful as it is, but taking effectively a +3 Iron Head from the Durant and taking like 60% and then just killing it back with a nice flamethrower.
Yeah, I definitely would have calced that. I would have.
I mean, the thing with Durant, he does not like special fire moves at all. So I'm thinking he was hoping that it wouldn't be a very bulky Colossal, even though that's pretty much all Colossal does. But
right.
But then we also did get to see the Mega Sceptile this match, and then we also got some nice slow U-turns out of Slowbro, and just
yeah, this team was really bulky, and it was kind of hard to like get. Like, it was just like a lot of
and then we also got to see the Toxic King Shield come out on Aegislash, so something that people were kind of afraid of and were hoping wasn't going to come, but it did show up this week, and we do see why that King Shield is so powerful and why Aegislash is so powerful. Especially because at one point he does get burned, so since King Shield does not block status moves, he does get burned, but he can still run Shadow Ball, and he just kills things.
Right. Yeah, the whole switching out with Slowbro, taking hits, and then bringing it back in.
Yeah, there's that team, especially with the Galarian Wheezing as well. That's something that can take a bunch of different hits as well. So, like, even though Aegislash has crazy offense, it can also have crazy defense, and Mega Sceptile has crazy offense. He's still got a nice bulky team on his side, and he was able to just take hits, heal off damage, and Evan was just able to get that clean 6-0 victory in the end.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it was.
I think it was one of those ones where he knew he had all the right switch-ins, and he just brought them in when they needed to come in. So it's like, okay, somebody who's throwing out fairy moves or dark moves is coming out. I just bring in Galarian Weezing. They're not going to do much to me. Yes, Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome.
The whole battle was pretty.
Yeah,
I don't want to say
it was just a slow, steady match.
It was just like, this team is definitely
there was no
winning.
real points where Evan didn't really have any. It didn't have the upper hand. Like, there were no crits that came out on his side that put his team too close to death. So he kind of just kept his cool, kept bringing in the right switches, and just nothing was able to happen.
Right.
Yeah,
it's a problem.
There's a reason it was banned in previous seasons and things of that sort. But we'll see what it gets considered for at the end of this season going into next season. Yeah. All right, and then we're going to move on to our next match. This one was the feature match between the Ampharos and the Victinis. This is a bit of a comeback, not so much for the match as a whole, but for Raul. I think he started with a win at the start of the season, I believe, and then lost 4 in a row. Yeah. So so you guys were both, you came back in, some big power, making names for yourself again. His moves seem to be mostly a lot of move control with several taunts, and just then his Garchomp, I think, was able to pick up 3 KOs, so it was just able to be faster and bulkier than most things and just kind of clean everything up.
Yeah, I like Garchomp. He's very good for, I don't know, like anything.
Yeah, it's always been a good runner in the league every season. It's always a solid Pokemon to pick up. Oh, I was just saying Garchomp's good.
I didn't hear anything you said, but I agree.
But we did also have Jolteon make its first appearance, and not able to do quite enough since it was a bulkier Garchomp. It was able to survive the Shadow Ball later in the match, which let Garchomp get a couple more KOs before eventually dying. So, yeah.
Rest in peace, Garchomp. I like this setup here. I hate healer Pokemon like Mama Beef, so I'm glad. I totally do the same thing where I just set up and use my Z move to kill it, because they're really annoying.
It can take a lot of hits, and I know I've done several scrims against Zach, and if you don't have a good answer for that thing, it can just eat attacks and then wish, protect, and you just can't kill it.
Yeah, really annoying. Yep.
Yeah.
So rest in peace, Mama.
Yeah, she's getting pushed a little further down.
I was looking at the chat. Yeah, I was looking at the chat, and Zach was like, "I think you got me," like pretty soon after Mama Beef was gone. And
yeah, it was definitely because it didn't let him wall a lot of things. So if it stayed alive, like it's immune to dragon moves, it resists dark moves, so like Leopard wouldn't have been able to do much of anything against it, especially knockoffs wouldn't have done anything with its Mega Stone, and it can go against Cinderace pretty well as well, just because if Cinderace isn't in Blaze territory, it has a hard time even 3-hit KOing Mega Autono, so once that thing was down, it let Raul's team kind of just throw out big hits, and there wasn't anything to really eat him.
Nope, and he played pretty smart. I liked how he played. It was
and he didn't even have to bring the Ditto out, so I'm also proud of him there.
That's
exactly. Thank you. I'm glad someone agrees with me. All right, moving on to the last match of week 6. This one was with Zache against Chris. So the Zeds versus the Dunsparce. This is Yeah, it's
The
only the
longest
second longest so
battle.
far this season. The first week we did have a like 105 turn match, and this one was only like 96, so only 96.
Yeah,
But
only 96.
this is what happens when
But
an immovable object meets yet another immovable object. So we have the Great Walls that is Zashay's team against big walls like Registeel and Gastrodon and the huge Clefable.
yeah, honestly, I didn't know how great Clefable was until everyone was like, "Oh, I need him for the draft or whatever." And when I was playing, because I'm not, I'm very new to Pokemon, so when I was on the ladder playing, I kept
Oh,
picking
yes, of course.
Clefable because it was super cute and I liked the fairies, of course. And then I was like, "Oh, I don't need her. I'll pick somebody else." And after seeing everything she does, I'm really upset that I don't have her. But also she's really annoying.
Yeah,
I don't
especially
like
this
any
was
of the stuff she
he did
does,
have a
so-
Magic Guard set, which meant it did get Toxic Poisoned at one point, but with Magic Guard it doesn't take any toxic damage, so it kind of just sat there with the status, was able to Wish Protect, heal itself back up, and it also got insanely lucky with its Moonblasts and kept getting the special attack drops. So when Venusaur comes in on a resisted Moonblast and loses one stage of special attack, it has a hard time 3-hit KOing Clefable, especially when it can Wish Protect. And then when Heatran comes in, it has a hard time 3-hit KOing because its special attack is also down by one stage. So Clefable was just able to keep itself alive by luck and wishing.
See, I never did that kind of stuff with Clefable.
I mean,
just hit
Clefable
everybody
can
really
have some
hard
fun
all
sets
the
if it's
time.
got Magic Guard and some like Cosmic Power sets, because then its defenses get higher and you can't status it, you can't poison it, you can't burn it, so it's not really losing any health, and then it can just keep bulking itself up until it can kill you. But that's not what we saw this week. It was just kind of a standard Magic Guard set, so it wasn't able to do all too much. But we also did see Scizor, which should have been Mega, which never Mega'd the entire fight.
Yeah, I can relate.
Yeah,
to the
we
Mega
might
thing.
need to have a talk with people in this league.
I
A few
think-
people seem to have forgotten what that button does.
My the only reason I didn't Mega is because I keep seeing it thinking it's the Dynamax button, and I get too afraid and I don't click it.
I understand.
so
You don't
I
want
have
to.
my
You don't want to get
excuse.
banned out or anything for Dynamaxing, because it is very much banned. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't
But
want
it didn't matter
Dynamax.
for you. I mean, you might have survived a body press if it didn't crit. If you had Mega'd, maybe. I'm not sure, but it didn't really matter because you
Maybe?
still won in the
I don't
end.
know.
And I think in this match, it may have actually been very detrimental to the Dunsparce, because Mega Scizor does get some added bulk when it Mega Evolves. So it probably would have taken, especially special defense, it would have taken a few more hits from Mega Venusaur, but it's not how it went. Chris went on to get cleanly swept 6-0. So Zashay gets a nice big stat bump from that battle. Nice jump in the standings. But
Yeah, I kind of wish I would have. I kind of wish there was less like. I don't want to say it's stall.
It's
I kind of just wish there was more like. I wish there was more like offensive plays coming from Chris's team. Otherwise,
yeah,
I
well,
don't know. I
especially
feel
like
this battle just
he
went on
has
forever
Mega
and it
Scizor, which
could've
has
just-
like 160 attack when it Mega Evolves, and he also has Hydreigon, who is like, it just picked up Dragon Dance in Generation 8, and it's also just a really good special attacker. So like he has some pretty solid offense on his team, but it looks like he's kind of just holding it back for some reason, and it's not
Yeah,
going well
kinda
for him
playing it
because
easy. I don't know.
he went from, I think, 6th place all the way down to 10th place this week because of that 6-0. So he might need to start changing the way he plays his game. Otherwise, he's going to remain at the bottom and be stuck there for a while.
Better him than
Amen
me.
to that. All right. we are going to move on
Amen.
to looking forward to week 7. So first of all, we're going to cover our standings. So all the way up at the top, we do have Evan at 5-1. So a big jump out there. He, after getting that +6, he does have a +18 differential. So very solid lead. He could afford to lose some matches and still have quite the nice differential. And even though he was vanquished, Dan is still up at the top with a +13 differential, but he is only 4-2. He's not in the one loss section anymore after you beat him down a few pegs. Very good. Don't be sorry.
Sorry, Dan.
He deserved it. And then we have the Dracovish pulling up third, also at 4-2, with a significantly lower differential of only +2, so a huge gap there. And then after a big 6-0, Zeshe does have a +5 differential in 4th place, so he jumped, I think he was in 7th place, took a nice big leap up to 4th place, so good for him. He's doing well. The Larvatars, after a 6-0 especially, they continue to slip down the standings. They started the season at number 1 and have slowly kind of slid their way down a little bit, but they are at a nice 3-3 record and a +1 differential, so pretty even on the KOs and feints side. Then at 3-3 as well, we've got the Victini at a -3 differential, so kind of clawing their way back up after a few rough weeks after the start of the season. And then starting our 2 and 4 records, we've got the the Weedles, and right behind them, you with the Togepis with -3 and -5 differentials. So starting the climb, not off. I mean,
Not awful.
you went from a few losses in a row, and you're still at not a terrible differential as like other teams. So right behind you at 2 and 4 is the Ampharos, and same thing. They got a win, a losing streak. But he is at a -13, so you have 8 more KOs than he does. So definitely, or 8 more in the differential territory. So you guys may have the same record, but you're doing a little bit better than he is in the KO department. And then, as stated, all the way at the bottom, we do have Chris. He is dropped rather far with that -15 differential and very few KOs. He only has 15 KOs in 6 weeks. So his victories have been close and his losses have been not close at all. So he's got some fighting to do if he wants to work his way back up in the standings. All right, and now we're going to go over our roster changes for the week. So we did have a few changes come out. We did have 2 trades. Our trades were between the Politoads, who you defeated, and the Dracovish. They did make a few swaps. So actually, let me put the draft board up, because I don't think I put the... Oh, nope, I did not put up the new one. So let me plop this in there really quick. Sorry, I'm adjusting things that I forgot to adjust before. Don't mind me. But yes, the Dracovish do drop Zygarde, or not drop, but trade Zygarde and $2 to get Zapdos from the Politoads. So picking up a ground, mostly immunity, as long as he's not roosting, to gain, or he's dropping his Zygarde, which he really wasn't using all that much. It was a big ice weakness with that 4x ice weakness. But then he does also trade away his Togekiss and $1 for Haxorus from the Victini. So he drops 1 dragon and picks up another dragon, and loses a fairy flying to gain an electric flying. So some interesting switches. We'll see. We do have a bit more fairy on the side of the Victinis now, and 100% less dragon. Yeah, the Politoad's picking up a ground dragon. We'll see what he does with it. He seems to be leaning away from his dragon. In 2 weeks, he was able to get 10 KOs with Kyurem, and then hasn't really used him since. So we'll see what his reasoning is for that pickup, if he's gonna actually take advantage of that dragon type. Yeah, they're
Bro, I
very
love
cool,
dragons.
but they do have, there's a lot of things that can cover them. And yeah, and then we do have the Ampharos
true.
making 2 free agent changes, which they drop Leopard, picked it up for a few weeks, let it kind of do some prankster things, some knockoff things, and then he is dropping it to pick up Granbull. So getting rid of a cat, picking up a dog, and losing a dark type, picking up a fairy type. But yeah. They're very different usage. You have Intimidate and a big attack stat with some decent attacking coverage and fairy typing out of Granbull. So we'll see what he uses that for. That'll definitely... Fairy typing is a very strong type to have, and he did not really have it. I guess in a way his Mega is fairy, but he's usually used that for offensive purposes, and I guess Silvally can be fairy, but he never used it for that. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll bring 3 fairies one week. Who knows?
That would be
but
great.
The
I would love
other interesting change that he made is he dropped Galarian Corsola and picked up Snorlax. So, yes, Galarian Corsola is currently a free agent in Tier 2, which I think it won't stay there very long. I think that's something that people might go for. But he did drop... He did drop one kind of special defender for another one, but very different in usages.
I do like Corsola, but I already
you got your little baby Carbink.
That I use
it's basically the mascot of your team at this point. Yeah. And the last roster change for the week is the Weather Institute Politoads, when receiving Zygarde, are also getting rid of Blaziken. So it made its first showing this week. Really wasn't able to do much because you were able to stop it dead with Cofagrigus, so he's killing it off and trading it in for Mesprit, a mono psychic type who has very nice coverage moves and utility and things like that, as it is one of the Lake Spirit Pokemon. So we'll see if that works. Yeah.
I don't even know what Pokemon that is, but Blaziken is kind of ugly, so I support it.
Stamp of approval on Mesprit, just because it's not Blaziken. But yeah, those are the roster changes. We'll see what they do for the teams. We'll find out. But let's start looking forward to our first match of the week. We have the Dunsparce versus the Weedles. So a big loss out of the Dunsparce last week, leading into a battle against the Dual Weather team. We'll see how this one goes. I mean, let me look at his team really quick. He does have Gastrodon, so he does have a Dracovish counter. So Cheryl cannot freely throw down those Vicious Wrens. Clefable can also... actually, I don't think Clefable takes a Vicious Wren. Yeah, I think he's going to have to make sure he keeps his Gastrodon healthy. He's usually done a pretty good job of that, so I don't think he'll have too much of an issue with it, but who knows? She also has the Excadrill. She also has the Ludicolo. There's plenty of things that his team no likey. And yeah, also she's got other offensive in Nidoking. Yeah, I think he's got a bit of an uphill battle there, and maybe this week he will discover the Mega Evolve button. And maybe I was about to say maybe a few people will
too.
I think we had 3 this week. Audino did not Mega Evolve, Tyranitar did not Mega Evolve, and neither did Scizor. So we might need to have a little lesson on that, guys. It can be challenging.
It's okay.
All right, moving on. Our next one is going to be the Politoads. So last week's big ol' loser versus Ampharos, one of last week's big ol' winners. So Rain Team, the soggiest of teams, with a couple new members, up against Raul, who's trying to... He's fighting for his fucking life, man. Let's put it that way.
Of
course. We always want Dan to lose. He's the heel of the league. Yeah.
I would like that. I love Dan, but I just want him to lose.
It's understandable. We all feel that way most times. But I do feel like Dan might have a bit of an advantage this match, just because His team doesn't take the rain on too horribly well. I mean, he does have Gourgeist, which can take on Swampert pretty easily, but even things like Empoleon can resist the water, but does not like the earthquakes. He can use Ditto to copy it, so that might be something he comes out with, but otherwise, most things on the team don't really like to go up against a Mega Swampert. So we'll see what Raul is able to do. But this one looks like it might be hard for him to keep that win streak going. But best of luck to him. Of course, we want Raul to win. We want Dan to lose. See, there you go.
I'll coach him
you beat the rain. Okay. You just gotta share your wisdom with him and just show him how it's done. We must defeat the evil. All right, next match is the Larvitars versus the Porygon Zeds. So the team with ridiculous speed versus the Great Wall. I'm not even sure what to say about this one. I mean, the offense is there to wall break from the Larvitars, but there's a lot of wall to get through. There's just so much wall to break through.
All he's got to do is put Trick Room on every single Pokemon, and then
there you go.
Have a Trick Room team.
Yeah, I mean,
and win.
He has a couple. I think he has 3. No, I think it's only 2 Trick Roomers now in Porygon 2 and Bronzong. But he might do it. It could be a thing. if he wants that
Maybe.
speed advantage. But yeah, I think this will be hopefully not an exceptionally long match. But I mean, you do have also the Florges, the Skarmory, and the Hippowdon from the Larvitars. So like, there's a lot of bulk on both sides. It'll be interesting to see the way this one goes. I don't think either team. We might make this the feature. I don't think either team in this one has a clear advantage. I think it's going to be hard fought for whoever does walk away with that W. So, moving on to our next match, we do have the Dracovish versus the Victini. So, everyone's favorite baton-passing, flinch-haxing team versus a team that seems to be struggling a little bit to find their identity. Zach has made a decent amount of roster changes. He's 5 roster changes so far. So, yeah. So he's trying to find his identity on the team, and he's going up against one that seems to have its identity pretty pat down. It may not be a good identity, but it is an identity of baton pass and flinch hacks.
Pass identity.
We'll see what he's able to do with it, but there are some good walls. So like Corviknight really doesn't care about Jirachi trying to flinch hacks. All it has to do is like, it can get headbutted or iron-headed like 7-8 times, and as long as it gets 1 roost off, it can go another 7 or 8 times against it. So I don't think he's too horribly matched against it. Also, he likes to Choice Scarf his Victini, so yeah, Choice Banded or Choice Scarf V creates. Most teams don't like those. He does have Regirock, which probably won't care too much, but I feel like this one might be kind of disgusting.
Yeah, I'm worried about it. I'm worried to see what stuff Greg keeps
Well, also,
doing.
Zach did pick up the Skuntank last week, so I think he can set Toxic Spikes with that. I might be wrong. That might be the one thing I say this week that's wrong, because somebody always calls me out for being wrong. But,
yeah, you're usually wrong.
But Drapion can also drop Toxic Spikes from Greg's team, and it has. I think it's got like 4 or 5 KOs solely off of Toxic Spike setup. So, like I said, I think this match is going to be kind of gross. We will see how it is. Oh, I'm being called out in chat. I'm being told I'm wrong. I knew it. There's always something each week. At least one thing that I'm very wrong about. But
either way,
yes, we don't like to see flinch hacks win. We don't like to see baton pass win.
No.
So sorry, Greg. We don't want you to win. We do not support you.
Sorry, Greg.
And then looking on to our last match of Week 7, it is you versus Sneasels. How are you feeling? That is Evan.
Who are the Sneasels?
Yeah, you've got some fun
no.
things to fight.
It's not that I underestimated him the first time. It's just that I don't know. His switches are really smart and it makes me angry.
Yeah, he has a lot of experience.
They make sense,
so
I don't know.
It's definitely something to be wary of. And we've seen the Aegislash. We've seen reasons why it was so terrifying in other formats. There is the Doug Trio that can trap. There is the Slowbro that can do the slow U-turns.
Oof.
Yeah.
Doug Trio
I mean, your team... Yeah, never mind. It does have some fears. So, you'll definitely want to be careful with your team, because he would like to trap a lot of things on your team. A lot of things, yeah.
A lot of things, yeah. There is, I forget what it is, but I did a mock battle against somebody last time, and there is a way that I can get out of it.
You might be thinking of the shed skin item. Or not shed skin. Not shed skin is an ability.
Maybe?
There's an item that you can hold that lets you escape from trapping moves and abilities, so you might want to look into that. It might be a good idea.
Yeah, I might do that. Yeah.
There's definitely some things to watch out for against that team. And then the Mega Sceptile, very fast. Very fast. That's what we can say about it. Very, very fast.
Very fast. Yeah.
But yeah, I think you've got your work cut out for you. But I believe in you. You've shown a very good understanding of the game and of concept. So any real thoughts going into that? Don't give away any strategies, but any thoughts?
Bro, I don't have any strategies.
You've got time to think on it.
I've got a lot of time. I don't know. I'm not too worried about it.
Oh, it's absolutely
I think it's doable.
Anybody can be beaten.
I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just gonna go crazy
Hyper offense.
again.
Just don't let him take a single chance to catch any ground.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, before we close this out, I just want to cover some of the stats that have been scrolling across the bottom because some of them are absolutely disgusting. So after this second longest match of the season, Clefable now has 51 tanked hits in 6 battles. The majority of those were in 2 matches. I think between week 1 and week 6, it has, I want to say, like 36 tanked hits. So it's taken a lot of hits. Mama Beef still holding a top 5 spot with 33 tanked hits, but Mega Venusaur Fern was able to jump quite a few spots into 3rd place with tanked hits with 30 after getting, I think it got 19, 15, something like that this week. So that match definitely helped out several teams. Also, the Gastrodon was able to stay in the top 5 by having 24 tanked hits. It's just, the tanked hits category is disgusting right now.
Those
damn,
thick boys.
that boy thick. Well, I mean, I think most of them are actually female. That girl, them girls, thick. Yeah.
Fuck it, everybody's thick.
Also, KO leaders, Dracovish, after picking up 4, was able to jump to the top of the list. It was lagging behind a little bit, but it is now all the way at the top with 11 KOs, finally surpassing the Kyurem, who for, I think, 4 weeks held the top spot with 10 KOs. It has finally been passed up. So, good job, Cheryl. You may have lost the match, but you are surging to the top of the KO leaderboard with Dracovish, the Abomination. And then Victini was also able to hold its spot and tie with Randall, who's been kind of quiet for a while, the Dragapult. He's been sitting at 8 for a while, but he's finally been caught up to by a couple people. Garchomp and Victini have reached up to the top. Let me see if I can bring up any that on your team are in the... Let me see. No, not yet. But your current MVP leader is American Dragon now. So, Cough Egregious. He's had a couple good weeks.
Good boy.
He's able to take those hits. He's able to trap things. Now I think you just got to get the rest of the team working with him to kind of beat people down to where they belong.
Yeah, I think I'm a cover
You still have your mascot with Carbink. Can't forget about little Carbink.
Oh, yeah.
Carbink adorable,
Can't
sets up
forget about
screens,
Carbink.
stealth rocks. Doing some good work for you.
He can do anything.
All right, well, do you have any final thoughts before we end this stream?
Sorry if
You're fine.
my answers were awful because you kept cutting out and I was really
I'm sorry. Sometimes the internet just doesn't like people.
Yeah, it's okay. My final thoughts. Good job, everybody. Do good this week.
It's good words.
And
there you go. Perfect. Those are
understand.
the best words that you can possibly go out on. There's nothing else that could be better. Well, thank you for joining me, Lauren. Nope. We wish you well in your battle against the Sneasels next week. Take him down. He's in the top spot right now. You have slain one giant. Do it twice. Do it 2 in a row. Take down those big boys. Keep them in check.
Okay, I will.
I'm glad you're feeling real confident about it. All right. Well, thank you for joining me.
Yeah,
We'll have you back on next week once you beat Evan. All right. All right. See you, Lauren.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
Bye.
That is going to conclude our PBN for this week. We may have some future content on the channel. Big maybe, depending on how things go. Some of you know what this is, but the people who aren't already in the League Discord, you know that like one person, Swagmaster79. If you're still out there watching, this one's for you. We might have some new content coming, so keep an eye out for that. I'm going to tell this to people in the chat and the Discord, as well as the one other fan that we have. Follow us on Twitter at I don't remember what our handle is, PKMNBL, something like that. That's where I will tweet about when the matches will be going on during the week, when PBN will be going live, and any other information that I find relevant. Or our social media liaison, Zashay, may occasionally retweet something from a PokeTuber. So it's a very, very interesting Twitter handle to follow. But other than that, that has been the PBN for week 6. Join us next week. Should be same time, same place, 7 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, same content. It's going to be the same thing like it is every time. But for that, I'm going to play us out with the wonderful, fantastic PBL outro theme.